Hi everyone, it's Mrs. St. John. I'm coming to you live from my backyard here in beautiful Troy, New York. It is a lovely day and I am hoping that you guys were able to get outside and enjoy some fresh air between doing all your busy homework assignments. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm a teacher at School 18 and at Troy Middle School. I teach with Mr. Carapoli, with Mr. Modan. I have some students from Miss Petroselli's class. I have some students from Miss Jabor's class. I teach with Miss Abbott. I teach with Mrs. Case at the middle school. I have students from Miss Piana's class at the middle school. And I also have students from Miss Lyon's class at the high school. No matter what school you're from or what teacher you have, I am so happy that you're here with me today. And this is our first read aloud. I hope to make several videos over the next 2 weeks while we're out of school so that we have one read aloud a day. It's pretty simple. This is not to replace or add on to your homework assignments. It's just so that we can come together once a day as a community and read a good book and have some good conversations about it. So it's not serious at all. It's not stressful. This is just for fun. So let's get right down to it. Shall we? I picked this book, Keller's Heart. If you go to School 18, you might remember this guy, John Gray, coming in and doing an assembly with the entire school and reading this very special book to you. If this is your first time reading the book, you are in for a big treat. This is one of my very most favorite books. It's about hope. It's about friendship. It's about taking something negative and turning it into something positive. And I just love those themes in general when we're reading books. So let's get to reading. Now, if you're one of my students, you know that the first thing that we do when we pick up a book is we take a peek at the front cover and we take a peek at the back cover. And we do this and we're thinking about what this book might be about. The title tells us a lot of info. The picture tells us a lot of information. And then this back blurb tells us a lot of information about the characters, about the theme, and about what we're going to read about. So let's go ahead and do that hard work right now. The title is Keller's Heart. So I know that Keller is the name of something. I just don't know what it is yet. I see this apostrophe S, which means that this after it is belonging to someone. Okay, so the heart is belonging to Keller, but who is Keller? We don't know yet. Let's look at these pictures, okay, or this picture. I see a picture of a girl and I see a picture of a dog and they are embracing each other. The girl is hugging the dog's neck and they both look really, really happy. I bet they're best friends. Do you have a pet that you love so much? I do. Bodie. He's here in the backyard with me somewhere. I'm sure he will come run past us soon. So now let's take a look at the back cover. I see a girl's hand holding a dog paw, showing that they love each other and that they're best friends. Let's read. A love story about a special girl named Raven. Wait a second, now I know who this girl is. Her name is Raven, and she's special. And a fluffy knight named Keller. Well, this looks like a fluffy dog to me, and so I know his name is Keller. So now I know who my characters are, Raven and Keller. And the story is about Keller's heart. The heart belongs to Keller. Here's Keller. We're going to really be focusing in on this character, the dog. Okay. Who rescue each other and become best friends. So they're saving one another from something and they become best friends. Look at the hands. They love each other. They're best friends. Together they show those around them that it's okay to be different and that everyone needs a friend. So I think this story is about overcoming something difficult, being okay with being different, and friendship. Now let's look at this word night, okay? This word night starts with a K. I know it doesn't read knight, right? That's silly. Just like the word know and knowledge, the K is silent. A knight is a soldier that rides on a horse that dresses in armor. And usually we see this figure in a fantasy story, saving a princess or fighting for a king of a fictitious country. Now, they were real. In the medieval times, we had knights. So it's not a made-up thing. It's just not something we see today. It's usually something that accompanies a fantasy story. So now that we have a good prediction about the story, let's go ahead and open up and let's do some reading. So the first thing that we see when we're reading a story is the title page. The title page tells us the same information as the front cover, but it might have a different picture. And in this case, that's the exact thing that's happening. I see the title, I see the author, the person who wrote the story, John Gray, and I see the illustrator, the person who drew the pictures in the story. Her name is Shanna Brickle. And I see a picture of a castle in the hills. Very much like what I was just talking about, the fantasy elements, okay? John Gray is trying to draw our attention to the fact that Keller is like a knight, saving the princess Raven from something. So let's read. This next page is called a dedication page. A dedication page is something that an author sometimes adds that tells us who they wrote the story for. Okay, so let's read it. For any child who has ever felt different, alone, or faced special challenges, you are unique, you are beautiful, you are loved. So I want you to think right now, have you ever felt different? Have you ever felt alone? Have you ever faced any special challenges? If you have, you're not alone. The author wants you to know that you're beautiful and loved and that you're unique. Now let's read. Ooh, look at this picture. It says, once upon a time, and I see a dragon, and I see a castle, I see a girl in the castle, and I see a knight on a horse. Very cool. Let's read. This is a love story, but not the kind with castles, dragons, and a princess trapped in a tower. It does, however, have a special girl and a fluffy knight who rescue each other. So now I have to change my thinking, because before I was thinking that this was going to have some princess elements, some fantasy elements. Shh. My dog wants to say hello. There he is. Come here, Bodie. You want to read a story with us? Okay. I'm going to keep on going. I know that this is not true. The fantasy elements that I thought were going to be in this story are not going to be in this story because the author told me here. But it does have a special girl and a fluffy dog who rescue each other. So let's read. The little girl's name was Raven, and she had a lot to say for someone who never spoke. She was as quiet as a butterfly dancing on a cloud. Raven was deaf. She talked with her hands, her smile, her hugs. She gave the best hugs. Raven was excited because it was almost her birthday. So we have some good information here. We know that Raven is deaf, which means that she does not speak and she cannot hear. And we also know that her birthday is coming up soon. The author describes Raven and her quietness as a butterfly dancing on a cloud. She gives the best hugs. I think Raven is a very kind character. Let's turn the page and let's read more. On the other side of town was Raven's best friend who she hadn't met yet. A puppy without a name or home or a child to love. This puppy was different. He couldn't see or hear, but his nose was extra sensitive and his heart was as big as the sky. Look at the heart in the sky. So the first page was all about Raven, And this page is all about the puppy with no name, who we know as Keller, because of the back of the back cover told us that, right? Both of them are different. Do you remember how they're both different? Raven is different because she's deaf and she cannot speak. And the puppy is different because he cannot see or hear. So Raven can see, but the dog cannot see. But they both share that they can't hear. Let's keep reading. Sometimes when things appear broken, people throw them away or think they aren't as good, but that's not true. Sometimes different is better. Yet, when this puppy's owner saw that the puppy's ears and eyes didn't work, he left him on the side of the road near the train tracks and drove off. The owner didn't realize it then, but he'd just thrown away the most precious thing a person could ever have. A friend. Do you see the puppy on the side of the train tracks? That's very sad. Do you think this statement is true, that when things appear broken, people throw them away and think they're not good? If you have thoughts about any of these questions I'm asking, you can always type them in the comments below. Let's keep reading. The puppy's hair grew long, and he got very dirty wandering the streets. Then one day a nice lady found him and took him to the animal shelter. He needed a name, a home, and especially a bath. Even though Raven was deaf, she did all the things the other children did at school. Only she had an aide to help her communicate with her classmates. Raven taught them simple sign language like hello and how are you. But she got lonely sometimes being the only one like her at school. Plus, some of the kids treated her differently, as if she would break if they played with her. She was deaf, not made of glass. Raven just wanted to fit in. I want to ask you, how do you think Raven feels in this picture? Turn and tell someone close to you, or just think in your head. How do you think Raven feels? Now, another question. How is that similar to the way Keller feels? The way you think Keller feels here? Let's keep reading. One day, her class, whose class? Raven's class, right? Because that's the character in the story who's a girl. So one day, her class, Raven's class, took a field trip to the animal shelter. Oh my gosh, who was at the animal shelter? Do you remember? I remember. That's where the really nice lady took the puppy with no name, who we know as Keller. So one day, her class took a field trip to the animal shelter. They had a tour and saw furry creatures big and small. As everyone crowded around the box of kittens, Raven's eyes were drawn to a back room and the sight of water splashing. So look, here's the box of kittens. I want you to think to yourself, what might happen next? Make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen next? Raven hears splashing. She hasn't met her best friend yet. We know the puppy is at the animal shelter, and we know that Raven's at the animal shelter. What do you think might happen? Okay, let's read on and see if your prediction comes true or if you get a big surprise, okay? She walked over and saw they were washing the puppy that was found by the train tracks. Soon, the other children joined her, but they couldn't see what Raven could see. The puppy didn't have his eyes closed because of the soap. They were closed because he was blind. So, I want you to think about your prediction you just made. Did it come true, or did you get a big surprise? Or maybe it hasn't been answered yet and we need to keep reading. She noticed something else too. On the puppy's left side was a big dark spot. They scrubbed it, but it didn't come clean. Do you see that? When the bath was done, they dried him off, and the puppy raised his nose in the air. He could tell there were lots of people in the room now, and he was sniffing them, all without moving a single step. Then he lowered his nose, and of all the children in the room, walked directly to Raven and rested his nose on her foot. So they're meeting each other. Why do you think this puppy chose Raven? He likes you, the worker said. You want to give him a drink? He can't see or hear, so you have to help him. Raven took the bowl of water and got on the floor with the puppy. Rather than give him a drink immediately, she took his left paw and tapped it twice in her hand, then gave him a sip of water. She did this a second and third time, and soon the dog wagged his tail with anticipation with what would come next. "What's she doing?" her classmate asked. The teacher smiled and said, "Teaching him doggy sign language." So she's teaching him how to ask for water. That's amazing. Do you remember? It's Raven's birthday. What do you think she's getting for her birthday? Look at the picture and make a prediction before I start reading. Okay. Hold it in your head while I read this. When Raven went home, she told her parents what she wanted for her birthday. And the next day, the puppy without a name was hers. Did your prediction come true? Let's keep reading. Raven had recently read a book about an amazing woman named Keller who was deaf and blind. So she called the puppy Keller. So now we know how he got his name. Over the next few months, Raven taught Keller more sign language, and with her mom's permission, she took him to the children's hospital to visit. Raven thought that if the sick kids saw how well she and her puppy were doing, this would inspire them and show them it's okay to be different. I think we're getting to the heart of the story. They're showing each other and others that it's okay to be different. Soon, she was taking him to nursing homes and other hospitals for more smiles. For a dog trapped in darkness, Keller was full of light, meaning he made everyone really happy. On the last day of school, Raven's teacher let her bring Keller to class for show and tell, but she wasn't alone. "Is this your mom?" they asked. "No," she signed. "It's a groomer. Watch this," Raven smiled, knowing what was about to happen. The woman took out scissors and started trimming back Keller's fur, especially that dark spot on his left side. Soon they saw what was hidden underneath the tangled mess in his fur. It was a perfectly shaped heart. Aww. And the title of the book is Keller's Heart. So now we know that is something that is actually on the dog. And it's also something that he's giving to other people. He's giving his heart to other people. Let's keep reading. Raven showed them not to judge people by what they see. It's what is underneath and inside that counts. She then sighed to the class, "This is Keller. I am his eyes, and he is my heart." The quietest girl at school revealed the most important lesson of all. It was right there in Keller's heart. Look, there's Keller's heart. He's dressed up as a superhero or a knight. Here's Raven, and they're saving each other. And here are some drawings of this dog. The end. Did you guys like that story? If you like that story, hit like on this video, or you can share in a comment what your favorite part of this story was. You could also answer, if you'd like to, how are Raven and Keller alike or similar? How do they help each other? Does this story remind you of a friend or a pet in your life? Why and how? What does the heart on Keller's fur represent? You can type this in comments, or you can talk to a friend about this, or you can send me a message on Talking Points. Whatever you would like to do. I am really happy that we got together today to read this book, Keller's Heart, and I hope that I see you guys tomorrow. Please let me know, parents, about the quality of this video. I know that I'm sitting outside and there's a lot of sunlight. So let me know if you'd like me to move to a different location to do these recordings. And let me know if you have any topics, if you want me to read fiction or nonfiction, if this story was too hard, if this story was too easy. Please let me know how I can make this experience better for you. I'm walking around right now trying to find my dog so that he can say goodbye to you guys too. Maybe he's in the gangway. Oh, he is. Let me see if I can turn this around. Come here, Bodie. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say bye to the children. Oh, we love you, Bodie. Goodbye.